Howdy folks, Paulie here. A quick video today on how to get into a music library. This is based on a comment I got in one of my other videos asking how to get in. It's really not that difficult. You just need a little bit of patience, need to be a little professional in your approach, but it's real simple to get the process started. Getting in, that's a second story, but the hard part is actually going out and trying to get in. So just some quick advice on how to get into a library if you're new. For starters, you got to have music available to deliver. You don't want to try to get in and say, oh, I'll get you some music. Have a batch of music ready. What music do you work on? Well, that depends on what you write, what you're good at, what you can create relatively quickly and of good quality, because quality absolutely matters. But the best way to get in libraries, what's worked for me, well, the number one way to get in libraries, without question, is collaborations, working with writers that are in libraries already and getting in on a project with them, and then you get become a member of that library. They send you the paperwork, etc. But if you're not collaborating, if you're a solo act or solo composer, the best way to do this, what's worked for me with many libraries, is reaching out to them directly. But how do you find libraries to reach out to? That's actually quite easy. Watch television and then watch the credits at the end, because they usually list the music provided by or music library. They'll say something about music in the very end of the credits. Now get your remote ready. You're probably going to have to pause because the credits often go by super fast and you have to step your way through it and make sure you find it. But say you're watching some kind of show, I don't know, Forged in Fire is a great show, or Survivor, or some Atlanta NBA Housewives, or some show that you like watching. Reality TV has a lot of music in it. So if you hear music in the genre that you create, bingo, there you go. That show is using the type of music that you write. So get to the end credits, find the name of the libraries that are used. Sometimes they list one, sometimes they list 3 or 4 different libraries. So step one is to do that, to find shows that use the music that you write, and then go to the end credits and find the name of the libraries that they use to get music for that show. And then hop on your favorite search engine and search for that music library. Search for the name that you saw plus music or music library, and eventually you'll find it. And you'll know you found it when you click on the link. You'll see the website, and it should be a professional looking website with show credits or our music used on these shows recently, blah, blah, blah. You'll know if that's them or not. You probably see the show that you saw as an icon somewhere on that page. So now that you're at the website, you got to figure out, is this library accepting new composers? So some of them make it very simple. They'll have a button at the top of their website in the menu that says submit music, or composers, or join our team. Sometimes it's a little more subtle. You have to find their contact page. And the contact page may just be a form. No phone or email address is listed. It's just a submission form, and you're going to send a form in. Some will say at the top of that form, yes, we are accepting new composers at this time, or no, we're not accepting music submissions at this time. So don't pester them if they're not. If they're not, just go find the next library. But what do you say when you're applying to send them music, when you're trying to get their attention? How do you get their attention? It's very, very simple. If they have a contact form, that's great. If they list an email address, that's great. Write an email, fill out the form with some very, very basic information. And again, you got to treat this like a business. Focus on being a professional. This is not a hobby. This is not just someone you know on the playground, okay? This is a business you're trying to establish a professional relationship with. So one thing I've learned the past few years, for sure, is that music library owners are very, very busy. They're working hard to get music placed. They don't have time for long emails. They don't have a lot of time for anything, really. So be concise. Your email subject should be something simple, like new composer inquiry, music for your consideration. That says it all right there. They'll know when they see the email, this is someone that wants to be a composer. They want to send us music. New composer inquiry, music for your consideration. The body of the email is going to be very, very simple. And I'm going to read you, I got some sample text so I don't get this wrong here. But this is what I've used multiple times, and it's worked multiple times. I recently saw your library listed in the credits for a show. List the show name, of course. And heard music in a genre that I produce. Below is a link to a short playlist of my recent work. Please let me know if you have any interest in using my music. I'm currently with BMI or ASCAP and generally focus on writing genre 1, genre 2, genre 3. You let them know what genres you focus on. I'm generally a classic rock guitar composer, or I write classical and jazz, blah, 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 but just put a couple of things I write in these styles. Closing sentence, I'd love to become a member of your composer team. Thank you so much for your consideration. Then list your name, your email, your phone. If you got a music website, put a link there. If you got a social media account for your music business, not your personal one, but your music business, put that there as well. Very, very simple. Simple subject, concise message, detailed content information. Now, what happens next? Now, with that email format I just sent you, I heard back from every single library I reached out using that format. Okay? Every single one got back to me. Most within a few days. Some the next day, a couple the same day. Sometimes it was a week or two. But I probably reached out to a dozen libraries that way, and I heard back from every one. And then how many of those actually accepted me? Think about it. Surprised myself. I want to say probably 8 or 9 of the dozen I became a writer for. Worked out great. Why did it work out? Because I had music ready to deliver. I didn't make them wait and say, "Oh, you want to talk? I'll send you. Let me write something real quick." No, I had music ready to deliver. In each case, I sent a list, probably with 10 different tracks that exemplified 3 or 4 genres that I do. Kind of a sidebar conversation. You probably should try to get a portfolio of your music online ready to play. It could be a private playlist on SoundCloud. It could be on your website. It could be a Bandcamp or any of those websites out there. But try to have a musical portfolio online that you can share in the case that you meet someone at an event, on the road, at a gig. Hey, man, I like your music. Hey, here's a link. Check it out. But have that music ready to send to them. And so then what happens next? They will reach out and say, "Hey, like the music, would like to hear more." They might say, "Hey, thanks for reaching out. It doesn't really fit the bill right now, but thanks for your consideration." If they say no, don't freak out. Send them a thank you message. "Hey, appreciate your consideration. Thanks for your time. Maybe I'll reach out in a couple of years or reach out again in the future." Okay. Always be professional. Don't burn any bridges. If they do accept, they'll say, "Hey, great music. Love to have more. Here's a link to our website. Fill out this form." They're going to ask you for contact information. They'll probably ask you to fill out a W-9 or some kind of tax-related information. They'll want all of your PRO information, BMI, CSAC, ASCAP, etc. They'll want the details on that. Your information, your name and your real address, your real name, as well as your artist or composer name if that's different. And they'll send you paperwork. They'll have the tax paperwork, the forms, and they'll have a document probably called Composer Guidelines or Composer Rulebook, whatever they call it. It's going to list all the things that they require of their writers. How to submit music. Some want to hear only links from playlists. Some only want to receive MP3s. Some want you to use a Dropbox, folder to put your music in. Some are fine with single files. Some want to receive music in batches of 5 or 10. But they will outline all of that in the Composer Guidelines document. They'll also outline the format. Do they care if it's MP3, WAV, AIFF, etc.? They'll be very specific. They'll say it's got to be WAV, 16-bit, 44.1. Or they want to have 24-bit and 48K, They will specify what they want and don't change that. They will reject your stuff if it's not the right format. They may specify loudness requirements and LUFS. They may specify things like song length, how long they want the songs as a general rule, or they may do that separately in each individual brief. But they'll specify format. And then the fun part is the alternative mixes or the alt mixes. Some just want your main track, and then maybe if it's a vocal, they want an instrumental track. I write mostly instrumentals, and so I send the alts that each library wants. Some just want a couple. They want the full, a bed mix. They may want a 30-second, may want a stinger. But then some want drum and bass. They want a full mix, no drums. Full mix, no percussion. Not a bed mix, well, a bed mix plus then something like a reduced mix, not quite a bed, but more sparse. Some libraries want the individual stems, each track, bass, drums, they break it down into kick and snare and toms and crash. Um, they may want guitar one, guitar two. That's not very common, but I have a couple libraries that do want that. Depends on the genre as well. But you've got to follow their processes. Make them like working with you. Don't make it hard to work with you because they'll stop asking for stuff. They'll stop sending you briefs. They're very, very busy. They have lots of writers. And they have very little time to mess around with drama or rookies. So everyone needs their first library, but try to act like you've been there. Make sure that you got no drama with co-writers. You've got to make sure your music is not using unauthorized samples. Everything should be original, no copyrighted material, and just avoid drama. If you have a project that fits their need for genre and there is a co-writer, let them know that in advance and say, hey, I've got some work in this genre you're looking for. I've got a co-writer. Is that cool? And they'll usually say yes, but it always depends. Just let them know. No surprises, because that creates more paperwork. And then a lot of times, hey, we like this track, and oh, your co-writer is, and you're no longer talking to him or her anymore, or the band broke up, and there's questions about who owns what. Avoid all that stuff. If you're in a situation where you have music written with someone else and there's drama, I would just start from scratch and write new music, and you're the sole composer, a one-stop shop they might call that, where everything comes from you, no other drama involved. So make sure you follow the rules, be polite, courteous, and recognize that when you reach out to them, they may not get back to you soon. They may not get back to you for a long time because work ebbs and flows. But the main thing is you want to get their attention, a link to some music you've got that's good, and then fits their needs, and then see what happens from there. So I hope that was useful. If you got any questions, reach out to me in social media or drop a comment down below. But I'm trying to help composers get out there. There's a lot of music being written for TV. Did you know that the average reality show can have over 100 different pieces of music in one 1 hour show? That's a lot. There's a lot of opportunity out there. So you can only have that opportunity if you go chase it yourself. So do your best, knock on those doors, and I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for watching.